Dear friends, so today we are studying regarding genetics, and here few questions I selected. Before going to the questions and answers, first we'll see what is the background of this. In the sense, what is genetics and general ideas. Today, if possible, I'll give a little bit of details to you people. I cannot cover all the thing, but even though a little bit will cover and we'll have a broader idea regarding that, and then we'll start with the questions. First, I'll explain you regarding genetics and what you know and what I am suggesting. Just we'll compare and then we'll go to the genetics questions. We'll go back to the board. Now, the genetics. What is genetics? Usually, the question is coming in the examination and there it is coming for 2 marks and they'll ask you to define genetics. Genetics is nothing but the variation and heredity it is including. First of all, the genes, they are transferred from parents to offspring. And offspring what we are getting, it is resembling same like that of the parent. Then you people are calling it as heredity. So here, the parents giving birth to the young one resembles same like that of the parent. Then you are calling it as heredity. And then comes the variation. There the genes which are transported from one generation to the next generation. During this process, the genetic changes will be there and that results into mutation and that results into variation. So, now the question arises, what is mutation? Mutation is sudden change in the phenotypic character of an organism. What we are calling sudden change in the morphological character of an organism. It is because of the genetic changes. And the things which are required for the nature, that is adapted, that is stored, and it will be transported to the next generation. So in this way, the transfer of characters you people are observing. Now here, the Gregor Mendel, we are considering him as the father of genetics, that is to the classical side. He is considered as father of genetics. And he formulated his own laws. Popularly, they are called as Mendelism. So here, he formulated certain laws, first law, second law, like this. And popularly, we are calling it as Mendelism. Actually, the Gregor Mendel, if you are taking, he is an Austrian monk. Okay, Austria, you people can, you heard about Czechoslovakia. They are one of the place called Austria. Here, the Mendel has taken birth. And there, in Brunn monastery of Brunn, there he conducted his experiments. And in his experiment, he formulated the laws. And he selected one of the plant generally called garden pea plant. Garden pea plant, we are calling it as, or biologically we are calling it as Pisum sativum. So Pisum sativum is a name for garden pea plant. He selected garden pea plant. Now here, genetics The genetics, just a minute. Gregor Mendel, he is considered as father of genetics, what I explained now. So, he formulated the laws. One of the laws, first we consider it as the monohybrid cross. Here, the garden pea plant, what I said, Pisum sativum. So, you know the binomial nomenclature system. Accordingly, you people, if it is handwritten, you have to underline it. So, first it is starting with a capital letter, that is generic name. Specific name, it is starting with a small letter. So, I am written it as Pisum sativum here. Now, generally, we are calling garden pea plant. Now, here, what he selected, first of all, he selected height, in the sense 7 contrasting characters he selected. Few I am telling you regarding the height of the plant, regarding the flower, position of the flower, seed, okay, the color of the seed coat, then whether the shape of the seed and pod, whether it is ripe, unripe, and so on. So like this, 7 characters he selected. And when he went for the breeding purpose, okay, when he was crossing, that time, he has taken single character with alternating genes. So, contrasting characters he selected. Here, the tallness, in the sense, the height of the plant he considered. In the height of the plant, first we will go through the monohybrid cross. So, in case of monohybrid cross, I am erasing this. So, first we will start with the monohybrid cross. Monohybrid cross. In a fast way, we are discussing this because we are not having enough time. So, in monohybrid cross, he selected the height of the plant. Okay, first, he has taken a tall plant and it is crossed with the dwarf one. So, the tall is crossed with the dwarf. So, tallness, he selected a pair of genes, that is capital T and capital T. And here he selected the recessive genes, that is small t and small t. Now, capital we are considered, it is only because of it is showing a dominant character. And this is showing a recessive character, so we selected it as the small t's. So, the crossing is made in between. And this is showing the phenotypic character and this is showing the genotypic character. So, as a result, it is producing gametes here, as both are homologous in nature, homozygous condition, because the same type of genes are present on both the sides. So, they are producing only one type of gamete. Here, capital T is forming a capital T, that is the gamete. And here, small t together they are forming one small t. So, now the gametes are produced. And here, phenotype, this is genotypic condition, you people observe. So, here just see, now crossing is made, now the gametes are combined together. Here, the gametes are combining together, then capital T and small t is formed. This is the first progeny, we are mentioning it as F1 and we are calling it as first filial generation. mother, father, son or daughter. So like that, you people can check it. Now here, capital T and small t we got. Whether the plant is dwarf or plant is tall. This is the question. It is only because here, capital T, it is indicating a dominant condition. So as a result, here dominant character is showing its effect. But it is a hybrid one here. It is not pure one. Okay, the pure tall is crossed with pure dwarf. So as a result, we are getting hybrid tall plant. Hybrid tall plant. We got it here. So as a result, first F1 filial generation is hybrid tall. Now what Mendel did in the next step? He crossed hybrid tall into hybrid tall. One is male, another one is female here. Okay. So hybrid tall, when it is crossed with the hybrid tall, the process is called as selfing. So we will go for the selfing now. Now, when you are going for the selfing, that time F1 is crossed with F1. So as a result, here what happens? Here capital T, small t is crossed with capital T and small t. Both are hybrid tall plants. So as a result, here you can see capital T and small t, it is combined. So as a result, what I am telling, it is a hybrid condition and it is heterozygous in nature. Here it is homozygous, same type. But here it is not homozygous, it is heterozygous in nature. It is a combination of dominant as well as recessive character. So as a result, it is producing two types of gametes. Here just see, capital T and small t is produced. Here also capital T and small t is produced. So as a result, the gamete formation is observed. And here 2 into 2, so totally 4 plants will be produced. Now see, the crossing is made. Capital T, see this. Now, capital T and small t. Next, here, capital T, small t. And last one, small t and small t, you are getting. So now see, what kind of plants are produced here? First of all, the pure tall plant. And here, these both if you are considering, it is called hybrid tall plant. And here, it is pure dwarf plant. So now see, law of purity of gametes you people are saying. So in case of this, the pure genes whichever were there in the parent, they reappeared in the progeny. This one we are calling it as F2 generation, that is second filial generation. So as a result, the pure tall plant you got, hybrid tall plants, 2 hybrid tall you got, 1 pure dwarf you got. So 1, 2, 1. So as a result, morphologically and genetically when you are taking, genetically they are different. So the genotypic ratio of monohybrid cross is 1:2:1. So I am writing here genotypic ratio. So genotypic ratio of monohybrid cross is 1:2:1. And phenotypic ratio morphological character when you are taking, that is 3 tall plants and 1 dwarf plant. So as a result, 3 tall, 1 dwarf. So it is called as phenotypic ratio. Phenotypic ratio. So now see, what kind of plants are produced here? First of all, the pure tall plant. And here these both if you are considering, it is called hybrid tall plant. And here 2 into 2, so totally 4 plants will be produced. Now see, the crossing is made. Capital T, small t. And last one, small t. So genotypic ratio is 1:2:1. Phenotypic ratio is 3:1. So in this way, the reappearance of the purity you people are observing here. So 75% tall and 25% dark plants you got at the end. So in this way, you people are observing the monohybrid cross, and in this way itself, the Mendel has given explanation. In the same way, you people can observe the dihybrid cross also, but that much detail I am not taking it. And that the ratio of dihybrid cross, if you are taking, that is phenotypic ratio, that you are calling it as 9:3:3:1. And if suppose the time is permitting, then definitely I am explaining you dihybrid cross also. But you remember, in this way, the laws are put forth by the Gregor Mendel, and those are popularly called as Mendelism. So in this way, Mendelism you people are observing. And genes, they are transported from parents to offspring, and the parental characters are retained there, and they are going to the progeny. So the hereditary character will be continued. And Gregor Mendel, he called these type of genes, he called them as characters, or he called them as the traits, he called them as the factors. So in this way, you people are observing the monohybrid cross. Now, we'll go back to our questions. There, whatever explanation is required, there itself I am giving it to you. Just we'll go back to our questions. Now here, we are studying Unit 3, Part 1 in the genetics. So, we'll go to the slide now. First slide, it is indicating Mendelism is related with. So already you people studied regarding the Gregor Mendel. Now you can explain very easily. Now see, heredity in living beings, meiosis during sexual reproduction, mutation in living organisms, none of the above. Now, which is the right answer? Again, I am reading. Mendelism is related with. Here, Mendelism is related with heredity in living beings. Just now I told, these are the hereditary traits. Genes are the hereditary characters. From the parents, they are transported to the offspring. So, in this way, it is a heredity living beings. So, in this question, option A is the right answer. We'll go to the next question. Now see, the branch of botany dealing with heredity and variation. Just see, the branch of botany is dealing with heredity and variation is called. Heredity and variation both are included in this. Now see, geobotany, sericulture, genetics, evolution. Now here geobotany, geo itself is showing the earth or the soil. Botany is nothing but the study of plants. So earthy plants, whatever you people are studying, that you are calling it as a geobotany. Sericulture, it is a culture of silkworms for the silk purpose. Genetics, it is related to variation as well as heredity, and evolution, it is showing the gradual change in the organisms. So here, what is our question? The branch of botany dealing with heredity and variation. Heredity and variation is related with genetics. So the right answer is option C, genetics. We are going to the next slide now. The term genetics was given by. Who has given the term genetics? Now here you will be confused. I am knowing. See, Mendel. Okay, Mendel already I told you people. Okay, he is a father of genetics. Okay, Morgan, he is also a father of, he is father of classical genetics. and he is father of the what we call modern genetics. And Batson, he is father of the what it is called classical, modern, and just a minute, I'll tell you. Okay, just a minute. Mendel is classical genetics, he is the father of classical genetics. Morgan, he is the father of experimental genetics. Batson, he is the father of modern genetics. So, remember, first classical, then experimental, then we are calling modern. So in this way, these are persons who are considered as father of genetics. But here, the term genetics was introduced by the Batson. So as a result, option C is the right answer here, what we are calling it as Batson. So we'll move to the next slide. Now see, the first genetist was, who was the first genetist? Here, A. Engler and Frankel. Okay, they are given the classification system. John Gregor Mendel, he is related with genetics. Okay, Skleden and Swan Miller. Okay, all those things you people are knowing. Here, option B, Johann Gregor Mendel. Okay, here are Gregor Johann Mendel is the right answer. So as a result, the first genetist was the Mendel. So as a result, here the option B is the right answer. We'll go to the next slide. In case of this, we'll see. Mendel was born in, okay, where Mendel actually born? 17th century, 18th century, 19th century, and 8th century. He is actually born in 19th century, that is in Austria or Czechoslovakia. So the option C is the right answer. We'll go to the next question now. Now, Mendel was the native of, okay, where, which is the place which is called the native of Mendel. So here they are given France, Sweden, India, Austria. Repeatedly I told, it is a D option, that is Austria or Czechoslovakia. So Mendel was the native of Austria. So D is the right answer. We'll go to the next question. Now here, Mendel studied on pea plant in, okay, so Vienna University of Austria, Monastery of Brunn, School of Brunn. So it is a Monastery of Brunn. So option C is the right answer. In Monastery of Brunn, he studied regarding the garden pea plant, and also he conducted so many experiments in Monastery of Brunn. So we'll move to the next slide. Mendel proposed which of the following term for hereditary unit? So A, factor, that is determiner, B, genome, C, genetic particle, none of the above. In the beginning only I told, so it is a character, it is called a factor, it is called a trait. So the factor, option A, factor or a determiner is the right answer. In this question, option A is the right answer. We'll move to the next. The resemblance of individuals to their progenitor is called. So here, heredity, genetics, evolution, none of these. You people are knowing here, the resemblance of individual to their progenitor is called. Progenitor is nothing but a parent, okay, then individual is nothing but a offspring. Offspring appears same like that of the parent, or you may say the son appears like a parent. Okay, so in this way, the character is called as heredity. So option A is the right answer here. We are going to the next question. Now see, in 1980, three biologists independently discovered Mendel's principle. They are, yes, here very interesting thing it is. So, up till 1866, Gregor Mendel, he postulated his formulas and everything, he was very ready, but he didn't get a scope further. Later, three well-known scientists independently worked on that. And again, whatever the formulas were there, they brought into the light. And then onwards, the John Gregor Mendel got a very importance in genetics. So, who are those? First, De Vries, Correns and Sherman. B. Sutton, Morgan and Bridges. Avery, MacLeod and McCarthy. Then Watson, Punnett and Bridges. Actually, De Vries, Correns and Sherman, they independently worked on Mendel's experiment, Mendel whatever he proposed, on that independently they worked and they are given their own ideas. Okay, so here we'll go to the earlier slide. Yes, so here the De Vries, Correns and Sherman, they are the right persons who discovered this. So, option A is the right answer for this question. We'll go to the next one. Now, isolation and purification of specific DNA segment from a living organism was achieved by, okay, by whom this was achieved, okay, in the beginning. Crick, Watson and Crick, it is not possible. Nirenberg, Khorana and also Beckwith, his colleagues. But here the right answer is Nirenberg. So Nirenberg, he helped in the isolation and purification of specific DNA segment from living organisms. Okay, so this was achieved by Nirenberg. We'll move to the next question. Now here, cyclic adenosine monophosphate was discovered by. Who discovered the cyclic adenosine monophosphate? Here the options are Becker et al. And E.W. Sutherland and Berman and Weissenman. So here the right answer is E.W. Sutherland. Okay, he found the cyclic adenosine monophosphate he discovered. So, the right answer is option B. We'll go to the next here. The micrococcus nuclease enzyme. Okay, micrococcus nuclease enzyme, how it is working. Okay, so actually, it is cutting DNA at the junctions where the nucleosomes are seen. Okay, in the junction of nucleosome, the cutting is done. Okay, we'll see the options here first. Cuts the DNA from a specific site, joins the DNA segment, cuts the DNA at the junction between nucleosome, then last one binds the DNA with histone. So the right answer is option C, cuts the DNA at the junction between nucleosomes. Already you are knowing nucleosome model of DNA. DNA is a double helical structure. And here the histones are seen. Histones are formed there. Actually, the DNA is helix is wrapping it. So those details you people are knowing. So as a result, option C is the right answer here. We'll move to the next question. Which site of a which site of a tRNA molecule hydrogen bonds to a mRNA molecule? Hydrogen is bonding to mRNA molecule. Okay, they are asking which site of tRNA is bonding hydrogen and also hydrogen bond with mRNA molecule. So here the codon, anticodon, 5' end of tRNA molecule, 3' end of the tRNA molecule. Here actually you people are knowing the tRNA structure. tRNA structure at the top there, the anticodon region, through the anticodon region, mRNA and anticodon region, they are coming near to each other and they are binding. So as a result, here option B is the right answer, that we are calling it as anticodon. So we'll move to the next slide. 30 minutes. So the last question we are taking it here, that is the element absent in RNA is. In RNA, which element is absent? So you people are knowing the nucleic acid. The nucleic acids are made with CHON, okay, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. So here nitrogen, sulfur, oxygen, hydrogen is given. So as a result, the RNA is made with the nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, but not with the sulfur. So as a result, sulfur is the answer for this question. So as a result, one they ask, the element absent in tRNA is sulfur. So we'll stop it here. So dear friends, whatever is possible, I'm given a little bit of explanation to you because the time restriction. Okay, in the coming class also, again we are continuing the same thing. There also, I'll give some explanations to you. But you go for the hard work, search for new questions and study hard. Okay, so hard work will not be substituted. Thank you.